Okay, hello everybody. Thank you all for being here. And I hope you are very excited, as I am, for our panel. We'll try to outline some challenges and some specific topics regarding research. But first of all, I'd like to ask the speakers to make a brief introduction, self-introduction, starting by me. As was already said, my name is Larangeira. I am a special appointed associate professor at Tokyo Tech in Japan, and I'm also a research manager at IOHK. Professor Emin.
Good morning, my name is Liphardt. I'm a professor at Stanford University. I spend most of my time thinking about healthcare and technology-enabled healthcare and the role of healthcare data in the medical field, but also the insurance field. So I'm generally interested in how to use medical data to make better decisions. And I'm also the founder of a technology-enabled healthcare company, which is located in Palo Alto and Singapore.
My name is Emin. I'm a professor at Cornell University. I've been active in the cryptocurrency space for a long time, predating the introduction of Bitcoin back in 2002 and on. And I'm a co-founder of bloXroute, which is looking at how to speed up layer 0. And I'm also a founder of Ava Labs, which I talked about yesterday, which is exploring a brand new consensus protocol and an associated coin.
My name is Sandeep Nailwal. I am a co-founder and CEO at Matic Network. Matic Network is a layer 2 scaling solution based on Plasma framework. We have a lot of top projects already exploring our layer 2 platform for their upcoming applications.
All right. First, I'd like to start with a personal view. I have been receiving papers in academia to review papers for peer review conferences, and I noticed a pattern that I want to check if they share the same opinion, that there are certain areas that there are a lot of suggested works. For example, supply chain and smart grids for smart cities. Insurance, probably I assume because of smart contract capabilities, and also healthcare, as we already mentioned. So my first very simple question is, do you share this view? Or you'd like to add any more areas or industry that you think I missed?
Well, that's already a great description of some of the major opportunities. And what all those things have in common is the role of information in making better decisions by companies that are involved in that space. And so, totally agree with you. Those are probably the main areas I would be looking at as well.
So, yeah, the areas that you mentioned are fantastic and very important. Overall, I think the blockchain technological revolution is going to completely change the way we do business. I think it's an extinction level event for many incumbents, and especially in areas where there are financial middlemen, or the actual task of the business is to act as an intermediary. Then blockchains pose an enormous threat, and for us, a giant opportunity. I think chief among these is the insurance space, as well as others where people are issuing financial instruments that bring people together. So I'm really excited very broadly about the entire space and its potential for changing the world.
As my panelists said, that most of the fields we already mentioned. For us, we are primarily focused on decentralized finance. We think that decentralized finance would be, after currency, it would be the first, big wave of adoption. And apart from that, there are use cases like gaming and collectibles. Those will be like the big use cases in the early days of adoption of blockchain.
Somebody is deeply invested in CryptoKitties.
So if I understand correctly, you add a new area, gaming, right? So do you see any research topics that we could put some emphasis on this, or being currently researched on gaming?
So I think gaming as a use case has been already pretty much explored in this, and it has advantages like users able to own their in-gaming assets in form of a true ownership rather than owning it on some servers or some centralized games. And then, those can facilitate secondary markets for those, in-gaming assets. And, there are projects like Decentraland who are building an entire virtual world on gaming platform, on top of which where multiple games are building different kind of games. Like there's a team which is building Pokemon Go on a decentralized virtual world. So these kind of use cases will be very exciting in this space.
Okay, so first it will be like CryptoKitties, for example, will be an example of such a approach.
Yeah, CryptoKitties is a very small example for that. Now imagine if that and that is like till now that has been the most adopted use case or in terms of mass adopted use case. Imagine that same concept ported onto an entire virtual world where you can buy lands, you can buy roads, cars, homes. So we think that can be a very big use case.
Given that this is the panel on cutting edge blockchain research, hopefully we'll not spend our entire time on CryptoKitties.
Yeah, but yes, you're right. But I'm afraid of the next part about scalability, that will be an issue. I mentioned one topic, the healthcare, and personal. I think it connects with personal information. And I understand that you're a sociology professor. I would like to make an introduction, and maybe you agree with me or not. That's actually part of the question. I see, for example, we have big players in the internet like Facebook, Google, and kind of, I think I can simply put that a major part of their business is they collect information from users and they do some business out of it. So my point here is that I think that's a major issue maybe in medical research and using these tools for medical infrastructure. So blockchain used in that sense is a way that the users can take back the ownership of their data. How can you describe it? I mean, my view is correct?
So, as you know, the basic business model of Silicon Valley is a very simple one. And the basic business model is that we give you free stuff, and in return for us giving you free stuff, you give us all your data, which we resell. That's the basic business model of advertising companies such as Facebook and Google. And that business model is well tested and tried because most consumers do not attach strong value to their privacy. So if I talk to 100 consumers and say, hey, do you want your medical information to be completely secure and private? Everyone raises their hand and says, of course. But then I say, hey, if I give you 2 free pieces of pizza, will you give me all your data? And most of them will say, of course. So the issue with consumers and privacy and security typically has to do with consumers want stuff to be private and secure, but if you give them a little bit of something they want, they'll give you a lot of information. And a great example would be Gmail. Who here has a Gmail account? Like most people in the room have a Gmail account. Now, you all realize, of course, what's going on. Why do you get free Gmail? Right? Someone is making money somewhere. And everyone in the room could have a secure email account for about $3.99 a month. So everyone here who uses Gmail has made the conscious decision that giving away all their information to Google is worth somewhere around is worth less than $3.99 for them. So whenever conversations turn to privacy and security, it's worth keeping in mind what most consumers want, and they want convenience and ease of use and a lot of utility for them. So of course, I'm a strong proponent for security and people taking control of their data, and I love that very much, and it's very, very important to me. But unfortunately, I see many consumers do not really have such a strong opinion about privacy and security. And that's one of the major complications when people talk about cryptography and blockchain and data and security, is that everyone here in the room probably has a reasonably good understanding of some of the technologies, but then the real world of the consumers have different preferences when it comes to what they really want to do. And hopefully on this panel we can spend a little bit of time also on maybe some of the open research topics in the area. So the simple message is, with respect to healthcare, the big struggle is that a lot of patients and consumers have rather different personal preferences and choices compared to most technologists in this room.
Do you guys agree with this vision?
So the vision is fine, but normally I have a very, very different take on this. I think that healthcare and blockchains don't mix. They're a terrible idea to try to combine, given the current technology that we have. And in fact, in general, if we're going to actually go into this area of what remains to be done, what's the research, what's the cutting edge looking at, the actual technology that we have, the stuff that everybody buys and hodls all the time, is actually quite primitive. So the dream that we sold to the masses, the dream that was demonstrated by Bitcoin, is a fantastic one. It's what motivates many of us, gets us excited. But the actual realization, what it's capable of doing, is far short of what the dream is. Right? So if actually, say, Venezuela were to switch over to Bitcoin, every adult would get to transact every 36 days. Okay, so you go to the store once, you can't go to the store again for 36 days. Scalability is a huge problem. Privacy is a huge problem. I can't even conceive of how I would store my data online, let alone on a blockchain, not with the current technology that we have. But there is a lot of exciting work going on. So I talked about a little bit about new consensus protocols that bring us immense scalability, that bring up what we're capable of doing from a few transactions per second, or maybe a dozen transactions per second, up to tens of thousands of transactions per second, and that opens up a big world of opportunities when you go up by a factor of 3 orders of magnitude. And also unsaid in part of that discussion was new models for actually smart contracts that provide privacy guarantees. So we're exploring these on the Alpha platform, and we're far from the only group that's doing this. There are many other groups, research groups, that are looking into what's happening. I do know that there's a big difference between what you hear online about what's hot and cool, and the noise that people who have bags to hold make, versus what's really happening at the forefront of the research. So if you talk to any of the people who are actual experts in this, versus you talk to developers who have something to push, there's a very, very, very big difference between what you hear. So all the stuff that, whatever, grin, this, that, and the other, they're great, they're small ideas, they don't really change the model. We need to completely change the quality of service, the privacy guarantees, the scalability properties that we offer to normal people, to be able to realize 1/10 of what Jan is talking about.
Well, I couldn't agree more, actually. And in terms of what we're building, like technology-wise, we're spending 99% of our development time on cryptography, privacy, and security, and we're just waiting for blockchains to finally get to the point where you can actually use them for a consumer-facing product, where we're totally nowhere near. So we're still in a wait-and-see perspective with respect to the blockchain side.
Exactly. I mean, I think both in terms of the technology as well as the business models, we are not there yet. You apply the blockchain technology to a lot of fields, extended fields like supply chain, healthcare, and all that. Once the technology reaches at a point where it's more conducive to even save your data. Like for example, there's a project by Tim Berners-Lee, which I think, if I'm not forgetting the name, is called Solid. So which allows users to save their data in containerized forms, in encrypted forms, and where they can allow access or revoke access based on some compensation. So it involves both the things, technology as well as these new business models, where rather than selling or giving your data for free stuff, you will have control of your data, and then you can actually sell that data to the advertisers, like subverting the business models also. I think once these two things are more in convergence, then we'll see the other industries adopting blockchain.
I still struggle with that. So as a technologist, I love what you just said. Totally agree, no question. But when I talk to 100 consumers and I ask them, hey man, what's important to you? I have never heard someone say I want to monetize my personal data. I've heard that 0 times. Instead, I hear, oh, I want stuff that's fun to use and colorful and simple and convenient. So either we're doing a really horrible job at messaging to normal people why privacy and security are so important. Either we're doing a horrible job at that, or we're not listening to consumers, or some combination of that.
True, but just let's see the example of this BitTorrent, which just been presented, right? So it's like using cryptography as an incentive mechanism, or using blockchain as an incentive mechanism on top of torrent technology, which is already there. Now, the moment they are able to execute it properly, and these wallets go to the individual, like people's torrent clients. Now, as a user, I never used to see my, the files downloaded from my system. But now, if I have an incentive layer on top of my files, that if I see them, I get, let's say, even if $20 a month, even still, it's a good, thing for me. So, and then there can be like additional business models like that. So, I think that in terms of business model as well as technology, there will be a lot of creative things, innovative things people will be doing.
So it sounds innovative to people who maybe have heard it for the first time, but one of the earliest things in this space was a system I worked on called Karma, and the core idea was to incentivize people to seed files in peer-to-peer file sharing systems, and the publication date of that project was 2003. So the researchers have been through this path. Peer-to-peer systems are very well studied. We've explored quite a few things. I very much support what anybody might want to do in this space to bring some of these old results into practice. That's fantastic. But we really need genuinely new, novel, fresh ideas. You really can't take a classical consensus protocol, dust it up, and give it to the masses under some proof of stake, blah blah blah, this and that. All these talks that you've heard over multiple days, they kind of blur into one another. All the verbiage is the same. And if you look under the covers, there really aren't that many fresh new ideas in this space. So we need new people to come into this space. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we face as researchers. And one of the things that maybe is a negative sort of thing, negative force field against that, is tribalism. And people who end up seeing these things as investment vehicles as opposed to technological artifacts. There's a lot of technology to be developed. It's a fantastic field. There's a lot of exciting things to do, and so it's an exciting time to be working in it. But we have to focus not on making money. We have to focus on building. The bear markets are great for that.
Okay, so I love when this discussion doesn't go on. I just enjoy it and watch it. I'd like to move to the next topic, actually, but it somehow touches with what we have already been talking, which is scalability. You guys have already mentioned it, and I think it's crucial for the wide adoption of such systems, and also touches with the CryptoKitties phenomenon, let's say, because it's a case that it's an application that overloaded blockchain systems, right? So I will start with a very broad question, and then I will go for more particular approach. The broad question is that I see it, and again, I'd like to see if you guys agree with me, that scalability is this term actually is not very well understood. So people, for example, think just in terms of transactions per second, but you can also think in terms of if you add more nodes to the system, you'll get more useful work out of it, or you put more energy or less energy, this kind of thing. So is it how can I say, a posted problem? I mean, how do you guys see this? How can you formalize this problem?
So that's a fascinating point that you brought up, which is when people talk typically about scalability, they end up actually talking about not scalability, but about performance. They talk about transactions per second, and they specifically talk about throughput. So there are many other performance metrics. Latency is one of the most important ones. We want to be able to clear transactions seamlessly and quickly. Go look at how long it takes to actually pay something with a credit card. It's actually a painful process, it's a long process. So we can actually outdo what they do on the latency front. In terms of throughput, any of these exciting application domains, say CryptoKitties times 2, right? So if CryptoKitties alone maybe we can support with Ethereum, but it kills Ethereum. You can't do anything else. So if you got 2 applications as hot as CryptoKitties, you're done. And so we'd like to be able to go to thousands of such applications simultaneously getting pounded, and we should be able to support that. So throughput is critical. But one of the most overlooked aspects of scalability is the following one that just got brought up, which is the ability of people to participate in the system. So I'll be just very, very blunt. You guys are all cut out of Bitcoin. You are passive users. At best, you hold a bunch of tokens as a bag holder. Somebody who is trading sells them to you, tells you to hodl. Meanwhile, he is trading very, very actively against you and people like you. That's what they do, okay? And so that's the kind of system that people are doing. You have no say in the creation of that blockchain. You also have no say in the evolution of that blockchain. You want to change something? Well, you got to go through a centralized, essentially a single entity, the Bitcoin core devs, etc., etc. Now, people will say, okay, no, these aren't centralized, or we can have a debate about that, but it's just a single entity at the end of the day. So that's that world. And the actual creation of that blockchain comes, essentially, is done by about 19 mining entities, 19 pools. Are these pools things that consist of other people? Sure. But you know, every company consists of a bunch of different people, but they've come together as a singular entity. They might not have a filed certificate of incorporation with a particular sovereign state, but they are a single entity, and there are only 19 of them. So people make fun of EOS on occasion for having too few set of block producers. EOS has 21. It's better than Bitcoin in that sense. Ethereum, much as I love it, happens to have 11 mining entities. So it's an interesting world we live in. These are not scalable numbers. I want everybody to be at the same level as Jihan Wu. And Jihan is a fantastic guy when it comes to building hardware, but when it comes to serializing transactions, he's no different than you or I or anybody else. So if we were to be able to incorporate all of you into the creation of that blockchain and give you a say on how it's governed, I think we'd be at a much better place than we are now. And none of the current technologies, and certainly not Nakamoto consensus, can take us there.
So rightly, I mean, very pertinent points about scalability. I mean that people generally think only about in terms of TPS. Nobody talks that much about latency. So very simple example is that even on Bitcoin Cash, even if there is thousands of transactions, but the block comes as confirmed in 8 minutes, it's a very still a bad user experience. And imagine a similar kind of situation for a smart contract platform where you are expecting people to use apps on top of it. Like that kind of even 20-second confirmation time. Imagine you using a decentralized Twitter where one tweet you have to wait for 20 seconds for the transaction to be confirmed. So latency is a very important factor in terms of bringing the user experience at par with the existing apps that people are used to using. And so the latency and then the second part that Emin mentioned about the governance part, that how do you be involved in the creation of the blockchain process. So very pertinent points made, and that's where I hope that we will come to that the approaches are different. Like many teams are trying to build that kind of scalability on layer 1 itself, and then teams like us who think that this can be done on layer 2 only because layer 1 has to be, if layer 1 has to be more decentralized, there will have to be a certain level of latency for the blocks to propagate and all. But yeah, there are innovative approaches coming on this.
Yeah, the very last part of the talk, and I'm afraid a little bit technical. You mentioned layer 2 solutions, and I attended a presentation yesterday about the Avalanche protocol, and I would say that's layer 1 maybe solution, right? And I'm also aware that you are interested in layer 0 approach for that. So for you two, first I'd like to Sandeep to give a brief description of what's happening in the layer 2 scenario, and then for layer 0 and layer 1. So Sandeep.
So in layer 2 primarily there have been 3 approaches. One first is of course the state channel approach which has been explored since long, and Lightning Network is also sort of an implementation of that. Then and similarly there are other kind of state channel implementation on Ethereum side like Data Network and then Seller Network and all that. And the other approach is the sidechain approach, and the most prominent one and more appreciated one in the community is the Plasma framework, where teams are building these side chains which can have some on-chain guarantees of the transactions on the side chains, and then the least explored or the less explored place is the TrueBit, which is for the verifiable computation. So these are the three main areas where we are researching, and I strongly think that the year 2019 we'll see some level of at least next level production systems on layer 2, where there will be some sort of scalability and better user experience achieved on the layer 2.
Great. On layer 1, there's a lot of research going on looking at different protocols based on proof of stake. I fully expect the next 2 years to be the year of or the years of proof of stake deployment, and it's going to be fascinating. There will be some massive failures, there will be some massive successes, and it's going to be everything in between. So I'm really excited. Among that whole set, there are really two approaches. One is okay, so there are really three approaches. One is taking old classical consensus protocols, stuff that was developed in 1983, 86, 89, that era, and then bringing it into the blockchain realm. So repackage 40-year-old work, and that's fine, and that can get us, that can get us somewhere. This is better than potentially what we can do today. So there's going to be a bunch of those, but those systems are very fragile, and they will lead to what I call SFYL events, sorry for your loss events. The second approach is something that I'm trying to do with Avalanche, which I'm really excited about, because it's a completely different protocol that changes the entire consensus game. It really brings together the best of both proof of work systems as well as the old classical protocols. So that's exciting. And then the third topic, of course, and that's where a lot of the noise you hear comes in, are sort of homegrown, one-off, strange protocols that people came up with. And this is a subtle game. Like, this is a game where this is kind of like brain surgery or whatever else. Like actually brain surgery is not a good example, because nobody would attempt brain surgery. It's really subtle stuff, but your regular layman kind of thinks that he could go at it. Cryptography is this way too, right? I can encrypt data, it seems like. Anybody can take data and maybe make it look obfuscated, but it really requires a proper crypto degree to make sure that what you just did is secure. So we've somehow gotten it into people that you should not design your own hash function, you should not design your own encryption function, but somehow there are a bunch of people floating around with almost no proper background and with no proper proofs, coming up with their own consensus protocols. And so there's a lot of that. And we'll see some fantastic failures of those systems. It's going to be hilarious. It's a great opportunity for the bright young minds in the audience to get rich from your dens, actually, if you just have to find some flaws in some of these deployed systems. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I think there will be some good successes in the middle as well. And then at layer 0, that's an area that has been quite overlooked. The core task here is taking data from people who have it and giving it to people who demand it. This is a core function of all blockchains. So miners come up with blocks and other people consume them, for example, and vice versa. Users come up with transactions, miners want to consume them. Bringing those together is a difficult task. So a company that I co-founded, bloXroute, that I mentioned before, is looking at making that process go fast. We want to be the Akamai of the blockchain world. We want to help enterprise blockchains as well as public blockchains. But we're far from the only game in town. I'm sure there will be other companies to emerge that end up going into that space. It's a really exciting area, and I'm really excited for the next couple of years.
Okay, we are, I think, tight on time. I think it's time to wrap up. If you guys have some final remarks.
Let me just bring up the general trend that I'm seeing. And the general trend I'm seeing is that a lot of the large tech companies have blockchain research teams one way or the other. And of course, all the large tech companies are thinking about offering their own blockchains. You can imagine, the AWS blockchain and the Google blockchain, the Facebook blockchain, and the everyone's going to have their own blockchain. And if you think about that trend from someone who truly believes in the value of distributed systems and distributed governance and so forth, it's a little bit ironic that the world we're heading into is a situation where the large tech companies, as one of their many product offerings, will also have blockchains. because of course that conflicts with, I think, the dream many of us share of having distributed technologies that are respectful of individuals and their privacy. And so I just wanted to raise that point because that's one of the major trends I see. And it would be really unfortunate if blockchains get subsumed into one of 23 product offerings from big tech companies where you either deploy on EC2 or on blockchain, but at the end of the day, it's all the same and it's not truly distributed. So strongly agree with your point that for me personally, the real dream is that every single one of us with our computers and phones can actively participate in all aspects of like a living, thriving, evolving blockchain, as opposed to a small number of miners or a small number of tech companies really creating yet new monopolies. So just a big trend I'm seeing.
Okay, so I think we should end right now. Thank you very much for the attention, and I'd like to ask you a round of applause for the speakers.